I have been asked to comment on the recent election in Argentina at the end of November 2015, in which the mayor of Buenos Aires, Mauricio Macri, defeated the Peronist candidate and also the former vice president of Argentina, present governor of the province of Buenos Aires, Daniel Scioli. This election was something of an upset. Scioli had been expected to win fairly handily, did not win or came in first in the first balloting for the election, but in the runoff, Macri succeeded. This brings to an end a 12-year cycle of the Kirchner era that began with the election as president of Nestor Kirchner, followed subsequently by his wife, later widow, Cristina Fernandez, who is the present president of Argentina. What I found interesting in looking at the charts involved, and what I'm looking at, it's both Macri's chart, I'm also looking at Argentina's chart. One of the things that came up for me in looking at Macri's chart was that I intuited a certain similarity to someone along the lines of Ronald Reagan, and that's why I raised the issue. Can Macri be Argentina's Reagan? A couple of things that came up for me. First of all, they both were born in February, just in a sense 2 days apart. Now, granted, not same year, mind you. Reagan born on February 6th, Macri born on February 8th. The interesting in that fact is indeed they both come in as an Aquarian. And then secondly, another thing that comes up for me is that Macri has a grand trine in the earth element. This is somebody who can really change the infrastructure, who can really get things together. And it's interesting because Macri came to, if you will, national prominence as president of the local football team, or if you will, the soccer team, the Boca Juniors, which went on to become internationally prominent. Macri has served 2 terms as mayor of Buenos Aires. Like I said, he was just recently elected president, which he will take office in December 10th of 2015. In his chart, Macri has a grand trine in the earth element. This is somebody who can indeed be something of a manifester, can really put things together. He has the moon in Pisces. Again, this is an interesting situation because he can be very much of a chameleon. He can appear in different ways to different people. But again, this is somebody who can be very effective. And again, it's interesting. When we look at charts, we look not merely at the individual's charts. We're also looking at organization, entities, corporations, nations charts. And when we look at Argentina's chart, we've got a chart, or I've set up the chart for May 25th, 1810. The interesting thing to me is that basically Macri's ascendant, which is Gemini, virtually falls on top of Argentina's sun. When you see a very strong combination between the individual and the nation, that really gives an indication that the person is really, quote, well suited to kind of lead in their milieu, in their country. We see it in the United States with strong connections between some of the Aquarian presidents, Lincoln, FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, and more recently Ronald Reagan. And then we also see the connection that Barack Obama has in regard to the U.S. chart. Well, like I said, Macri has the same thing, and this is not merely Macri, it's also his vice presidential candidate, and now elected, and that is Gabriela Michetti. Now again, Michetti, it's interesting because she also has a very strong connection, not merely to Macri, but also to the Argentinian chart. She comes in as a Gemini. She's got 3 planets in Gemini, and again, it's virtually on top of Argentina's sun. So there's some very strong connections both that Macri has and also Michetti has in regard to Argentina itself. This does bring closure to the Kirchner era. It's interesting because Cristina Fernandez has said that she's not going to go anywhere, that she's going to be around, and that would be one of my concerns in regard to what could go on regarding Macri, especially in light of the fact that there can be a fair amount of, quote, turmoil, shall I say, during his presidency. And this can be seen also by reason of the fact that another chart that we want to look at is indeed, say, the inauguration chart, or when he takes office, which in Macri's case is going to be on December 10th. of this year, 2015. And one of the things that comes up for me is a very strong Uranus Aries configuration, whereby he can indeed make some very significant changes, and yet at the same time there can be an element of, quote, uproar or concern about what's going on. And you may find that, in actual fact, Fernandez does create some difficulty or does indeed stir up the pot. It's something just to be aware of. Now, where Fernandez may have a little bit more difficulty is also the fact that not only did Macri's party win the presidency, but back in October, in the first round of elections, the province or the governorship of the province of Buenos Aires also shifted. Scioli, who was again the Peronista candidate for presidency, had been governor, but in the election for governor, the winner actually happened to be a close associate of Macri, and that is a woman by the name of Maria Eugenia Vidal. Now, again, the interesting thing is that all three of these people, that is Macri, Michetti, and Vidal, are going to have some difficulty, especially during some of this winter period of 2016, as we come into the early part of 2016. You also see it in regard to the chart set up for the time that Macri comes into the presidency, is inaugurated. And one of the things that comes up is indeed there's a power pack. It occurs virtually right before the new moon in Sagittarius, but a new moon that also has Saturn between the moon and also the sun. So when he comes into office, there's a lot of, quote, Saturn. So there can be some restrictions. There can be some delays. You might know that a lot of the creditors have gone to court in the United States, in New York, in regard to some of the debts owed by Argentina. And so consequently, this administration, while it may be more business friendly, may also have to deal with, say, certain foreign creditors and really come up with whether it's an element of austerity or what. The interesting thing is, mind you, that Macri is indeed a very effective organizer, is a very effective, administrator, and what you may also find is that he does a lot regarding the infrastructure of Argentina. And thereby, again, may resolve, say, some of the issues, some of which he did run on an anti-corruption campaign, and there had been allegations, although those allegations were squashed by the courts, in regard to the corruption that went on under Fernandez. She's not going anywhere. She's got a moon, Taurus, moon, Jupiter conjunction in Taurus.